It was a building that refused to give up its dead.
These are my sons, Elijah Coverdale, who is 2 years old, and Aaron Coverdale, who is 5 years old, and they both have been attending the daycare center in the building.
Janie Coverdale, the boy's grandmother, refuses to give up hope.
I'm almost positive that Aaron and Elijah will be found alive.
Fate would not allow it. The boys, inseparable in life, would share the same casket.
I kept saying, I believe in miracles. And when they came and told me they had identified their bodies, I started screaming at God, and I told him I would never serve him again. And I meant it.
Yeah, this is better. This is better right here.
Janie's anger and depression grew in the days after the funeral. She came to watch the demolition of the building, thinking its destruction would help her heal. It failed.
I didn't know I was going to feel that way. I didn't think I would. Just felt like some of me was going down with the building.
And part of her did. Her grief and anger became unbearable.
I got out of bed, I poured all of my Xanax in my hand, and I got a glass of water. And just as I was taking my hand to my mouth, this voice asked me, "Are you sure this is what you want to do to the rest of your family?" And I knew who was talking to me. And I said, "Oh no, Lord, no."
Her salvation would come not from pills, but from a postage stamp. She wrote a scathing letter to the man convicted of murdering her grandsons, Terry Nichols.
And he answered my letter, and that's when he asked me to. He said, "For all the pain and suffering I've caused you and your family, please forgive me."
The letters continued for several years, some answering Janie's questions about the bombing.
"Dear Janie, greetings. I trust all is well."
In one, Nichols writes, "It's clear that Tim had an evil presence within him, and as you well know, it showed itself in various ways." In another, "Yes, the bombing has affected a great multitude of people, greatly. It should never have happened."
I had a long journey, a very long journey, and my anger really didn't go away until I started writing Terry Nichols, and he asked me to forgive him.
And Janie Coverdale says she has. Bud Welch lost his 23-year-old daughter, Julie, during the bombing.
I lived with so much hate for the first 4 weeks or so after her death that I didn't even want a trial for Tim McVeigh or Terry Nichols. I just wanted them fried.
Julie was a beautiful young woman, a Spanish translator in the Social Security office. The burned skeleton of her car was found parked under the survivor tree.
Of course, the bombing was Wednesday morning and her body wasn't found till Saturday.
Bud grieved for more than a year with a bottle in his hand.
And my head was splitting. Every muscle in my body ached from alcohol abuse.
By chance, Bud saw Tim McVeigh's father on television and realized that that dad was about to lose his child.
Pain I recognized because I was living the same pain at the same moment. And I knew in spite of my feelings about his son at that point, that someday I needed to go tell that man that I truly cared how he felt and did not blame him or his family for what his son had done.
Bud traveled to New York State to do just that. And after spending the afternoon with Bill McVeigh, they cried together over the loss of their children.
All of a sudden, it was like this tremendous weight had been removed from my shoulders. And I've never felt closer to God than I did at that moment.
Bud Welch unsuccessfully fought Tim McVeigh's execution.
On June the 11th, 2001, a Monday morning at 7 a.m., in Terre Haute, Indiana, we took Tim McVeigh from his cage and we killed him. And there was nothing about that process that brought me any peace. Bill McVeigh and I had one thing in common. We had both buried our children.
Julie's chair is among the 168 on the memorial grounds. Faces that never grow older. Their absence from our lives still felt these 20 years later. That won't change. But Bud Welch says forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves.
When you forgive, it's not an event. It's a process. And it goes on many, many months and sometimes many, many years.
The survivor tree witnessed the tragedy, but more importantly, those moments when Oklahomans came together. There was no regard to religion, class, or race. It was a glimpse of the world as it can be.